Hello, I'm back again and wanted to say thank you to all the new subscribers and followers and followers and subscribers. Isn't that interesting? On Substack and YouTube, but lots of people from Substack, and that's probably thanks to Sam's channel, so people have come over, so thank you for that. So I thought I should put something out. And there's been lots of things I want to talk about. And do you know what? I miss the moment to talk about them. They come up, I feel them, I experience them, and then I go, oh, that'd be good to talk about. And then I don't. And then 2 days later, I've felt something else and I don't record that. So I'm going to try, that word try is going to come up a lot in this talk. I'll try and put myself in a place that I'm waiting and I'm there if something comes up, rather than ignore it when it does. So that's literally just turning up every day, I guess, or every week, whatever. I'm gonna try it. There's lots of things I'm trying at the moment. But it's funny because I was the little title I had to discuss. But honestly, sorry, going back to the beginning, thank you to all the new people. And people, because I don't know you out there. I really don't know you, and you don't know me. And it's a strange thing to have people who don't know you watch your stuff, comment on it, and like it. And thankfully, I've not had anyone disagree with anything yet. But I guess that probably comes with the more people are watching it. But if anyone has any comments or questions, please ask. If anyone wants to discuss a topic, let me know. But yes, it's great, thank you. And I don't know what the difference is, because I've noticed there's people who are following me on Substack and there's people who are subscribing. And I think I looked it up. If you're following, which I get why you do that, I don't think you get any notifications or know when I'm putting anything out. I might pop up on the feed, but don't be frightened to subscribe, because I don't do anything with that. I don't charge anything for the subscription. I think it just, for me, because I'm not charging it, it's free. You get notified instantly when I put anything out, whether it's written or audio or video one like this. And I am going to do some more audio ones, because I really like doing the audio ones, because I like putting the music on them. And I like talking into the camera closer, so I feel like them ones are for more just to put your headphones on and listen to me talk about a subject. And then a nice piece of music at the end. If you haven't listened to them, they are on Substack, I think, but they're also on my website as well. You can go, there's like an audio section. And they're just sort of like, I guess, meditations and thoughts and things. Some are read out, some are off the cuff. Most of them are read from written pieces I wrote. But I'm going to try and articulate, use the word try. I was recently listening to a talk on Meister Eckhart. I think he was around 13th century, 1200 something. And it was by James Finley, and I haven't finished it yet. And I loved it. Really got a lot out of it. What I've got to say, I strangely get, just being honest, I can listen to someone and then they talk about using a person who we all know as an example of someone who's dedicated their lives to something, or a particularly special individual. And he used two examples, one specifically, and he was talking about giving yourself over to something. And he used Mother Teresa. And this might be controversial to some, but not to others. And I was like, yeah, if you did a little bit of research, she's quite a, there's a few different ideas on whether she was this amazing saint or actually she wasn't a particularly nice person. So it can taint how I listen, but I have to switch off certain things. And he did use certain words over and over again that started to annoy me, which is just on me. But I liked what he was talking about. But it was one of the interesting bits. I'm rambling a bit here. But one of the interesting things he discussed was that Meister Eckhart had a conversation with Thomas Aquinas in 1200, whatever, I can't remember what it was, but this is over 800 years ago. And they were discussing how how you explain the experience of something when someone doesn't have an experience. And Thomas Aquinas, a similar position to Meister Eckhart. And Meister Eckhart, I like this distinction as well. I didn't really know that, they describe him as a Christian mystic. And I always wondered, in my head I had an idea of what the word mystic means. I was sort of right, but I like the definition that James Finley gave, and he said that a mystic is someone who is perpetually living in the mystical realms. They've had an experience. They've realised who they are, and they're not what this is. So they live in that realm. So they see the world, the mystical side of the world, I suppose, the unseen, the metaphysical, and so I just want to quit that so I don't get bings and beeps. The metaphysical, and then he described that some people who intermittent mystics. So I describe myself as an intermittent mystic, and I describe most of you as intermittent mystics who have had experiences, but we don't perpetually live there. And I quite like that. But they were discussing how what words to use in describing this state, this experience, this feeling, this presence, this ability to be in that metaphysical, or I would say, to be honest, it's presence. But Meister Eckhart was like, well, words are not enough. I can't seem to express what it is I'm talking about with these words. They're just not enough. And that was 800 years ago, and I said that's a common problem for anyone who's experienced something and wants to share it. And Thomas Aquinas, I'm totally paraphrasing it, not quite sure remembering the exact words, but he said, don't worry about it. The words are just a means of transferring and transmitting your felt experience. And he said, and you'll know those, because Meister Eckhart used to give these sermons in a church. How great is that? You'll know who can hear because you'll see it. And you'll see that they've received it. And that's so true. And we always get up on the words and how to describe something. And that's not a problem. That's an amazing thing to try and articulate. I think it's just a game to try and articulate really what cannot be articulated, and it can only be experienced. And this week I've had several conversations with people who were sort of asking about, well, how do you do it? What is it? What should I say? How can I help people? All these questions, which are amazing. And really, there is no answer to that. How do I help someone? Wow, if only we all knew how to do that. What world we would live in if we all knew how to do that. And funny enough, we all do know how to do that, but yet we get in the way of it. And trying to find the words to explain something to someone who can't hear is not a waste of time either, because that may be logged and stored and held for a future date that they may recall it, and it may help in the future. So when you are trying to, let's say, help somebody, these are just some little tips. I just thought some basics I'd go over, but also there is a general theme of this. But one that was given to me by someone who's always given me great advice, and really should be their channel. I'm just regurgitating what they always tell me, but I do put it into practice. But have they given you permission? Have they asked you for their help? 1. Or opinion? 2. So if they haven't, then maybe you're just there to listen if you so wish. And then if they have and they're asking, you don't really, if the mind kicks in instantly and goes, oh, I know what to say here, that happens all the time with me. Honestly, I'm learning. Really, it's a case of I sit there, and the times that I actually feel like I've really helped is when I say the least. When I say the least, and I listen, and I feel, and I allow what needs to be said to come up. And it honestly is usually very short. It's one thing, and what happens for me, and I don't know if anyone else gets this, is I know it's the answer that they've asked for, or the help that they may need has just arose. It's just come out of my mouth. It's what needed to be said or pointed out, or it's what they needed to hear. And sometimes I know they didn't hear it. Their character didn't hear it. Their character pushed it aside. That's no. Their ego, let's say, their personality, whatever, just went no. But I know it was the right thing to say. And what I then tend to do, because then my little ego comes and goes, they didn't hear it. I'll find another way of explaining it. I'll find another way to describe it. Then they'll understand it, and then I'll do that. And then I'll find another way, and I'll do that. And then I'll find another way, and I'll do that. And really, each time, I don't know if this is true, you're sort of diminishing what it was, when what you said was probably all that needed to be said, and the rest of it could be left out. And very similar to when I do these talks, but I'm allowed to keep rabbiting on because it's up to you whether you turn on off or turn it off. But yeah, so if you really want to help someone and they're going through a tough time, one, if they ask your permission, and if they ask for your help, very important, because do they even want it? And then two, rather than use your brain to come up with what you think, because we always look, I've done it, as I'll ring someone and say, this person's going through this, what can I do to help? And you can get great advice, and there are some practical things people can do, but sometimes it's just a case of trying to be as present as possible and allow what you feel to come up. So finding the right words for anything really always comes down to don't worry about it. If there's something to be transmitted, it will be transmitted and it will be received. And you're not meant to worry about when that may take action or how that grows, because you'll never know. You may never know. You may not see that person for the rest of your life. And one day they may sit there and the words that you shared with them may actually hit, and they may do something with them words or that thing that was transmitted at that time, and it may change their life. So that's just one little tip for anyone who goes, I want to help someone. And another topic the reason I was talking about at the beginning, the word trying. We try, we effort. We do, until we realise that doesn't actually get us anywhere. And like I said on that one before, and then eventually it just happens. And because of that experience, I've been spending a lot of time feeling into that I don't do anything, and none of us do. And there's that tricky sweet spot that I was talking to someone the other day, and I said, what the mind can do, and it's an amazing thing, don't get me wrong when I talk about the mind, it's an amazing thing, but once you've discovered that you don't need to do anything to fall into that space of presence and awareness and knowing and love and joy and acceptance and all them wonderful things, is when you realise you don't do anything, you just have to be. But then you go, well, how do I just be? And you could say, well, I've realised now, this is how the mind works, I don't need to do anything, so I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to be as present as possible. So I'm not going to do anything. So then you go, well, I now understand it's not doing, so I'm going to do not doing. So you've turned the not doing into now doing it, which is how we end up getting stuck in these things. And I can't, again, explain how you don't, but just keep observing where you do that sort of thing. So where you should just be as simple as you can get, just be. But if you catch yourself, right, all I need to do is just be, then you've created it into a thing, and then that means you're not actually doing it. And that's fun. We do it, and we do it until we don't do it. And I was hoovering the other day, and when I'm at my best, see, these are interesting words. I'm really looking at. I suppose we could say that when I am less of myself, which is a strange thing to say, that's when I'm at my best. I was hoovering and I was tidying up and I was cleaning windows and I was having a good sort of spring cleaning, this second spring we seem to be having in autumn in England. And my mind was busy. There was thoughts going on. There's feelings coming up, and nothing particularly unpleasant, but I was just allowing them. And people wonder what you when you say you sit with a feeling or you allow something to come up. That is it. I carried on hoovering, vacuuming for the Americans if you're listening, and I was just watching the mind talk about certain things, and I was running little conversations that I'd had that day and yesterday before, and then thinking of different things and feelings, and I'm still missing my dog and little, just all going on. But I was letting it and allowing it go on with no judgment. And then a little thought crept in of judging myself for not having a quiet mind. I was like, oh look, it's there. Now that voice that was judging myself for not having a quiet mind is the same voice that was chatting away anyway. It's all the same. And then I observed that. This is how I do it. How other people do it, I sort of have to keep observing until really then the voices stop, and I am, as they describe lots of people, the awareness observing it all. And there is no voice for that one. If a voice pops in, you sort of know that that's not the awareness, but you can be aware of that as well. And the words, who are you trying to be perfect for, came up. Who are you trying to be perfect for? I think them words came up because of conversations with other people trying to improve their lives, themselves, their situations, all of these things. And then when things don't quite go as they'd like, they then sort of beat themselves up, as we all do, that, didn't do that, I wasn't present enough, I said that when I shouldn't have said that. Oh my God, I shouldn't have been so loud, I should have been quiet, I should be able to sit and meditate, all of these things. If you're on a spiritual, let's say, path, journey, whatever you want to call it, you're trying to feel this essence of yourself behind the personality, to be more authentic, to be yourself, which is an interesting thing. We all get it wrong, and we all then point out and say, well, I'm doing better than them, or, oh, I'm rubbish, I'm not doing it, I must be doing it wrong, please help me, how do I do it, I need to be more spiritual, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do all of these things that the mind does. Who are you trying to be perfect for? And then words hit me quite deep, because if you believe in a God, a source, a universal consciousness, a supreme awareness, whatever you want to call it, wherever, there's something that created this place. and everything within it is part of it. It created all of this, and you're here on this, well, in this realm, on this earth, with a piece of it. You are a piece of it. And it's all loving, all knowing, all accepting, all of these things. And yet, who are you trying to be perfect for? Because if there is a creator and you are here and you are part of it, it doesn't need you to be perfect for it. It already thinks or feels or knows because you are part of the perfection. So who are you trying to be perfect for? Now, the reason I like that question, because it's sort of not a question, because really your answers will tell you more about your beliefs. So ask yourself that question when you're beating yourself up for, because I'll tell you what, if you're beating yourself up because you don't think you're spiritual enough for this spiritual existence or this entity that we call God, creator, supreme being, higher self, whatever you want to call it, what do you think of that creator that we all talk about, feeling this absolute acceptance, knowing all of these wonderful things? And yet, so when we have these experiences of integration and alignment with it, we feel that love, and yet we keep trying to perfect what? And it's the same thing I keep saying about is, well, when we understand the perfection that we are, we realise it's only our lack of belief in that that creates the imperfect way we live our lives. I don't know if I can say it any better than that. So to clarify why people get confused is what, so you're not meant to improve your behaviour, or yeah, it's a good thing. You keep doing, you keep trying, you notice and whatever, but most of the time, when people wonder, including myself, and I reach out for advice or help or counsel from someone who seems to have a better understanding than me in certain areas and certain topics and certain things, emotional states, I already know the answer. Because what I'm trying to do is fix something that I can't actually fix. I can't actually heal it. I can't do these things. So, but we always go, right, well, I've spotted this thing that I would describe as a problem. I have a problem with this. I can't seem to stop behaving like that, or I can't stop feeling like this. I can't stop doing this. I'm in a pattern, a behavioural pattern. So then we always go, well, what do I do with that? I've noticed this about myself. I don't like it about myself. I want to stop this thing about that I'm doing. And it's a good question, and it's well worth asking people. But most of the time, again, going right back to being how you help someone, the people who really help you the most, they might point out why you behave this certain way. So that could be like, parents, issues you had at school, stuff that happened to you growing up. Like, honestly, it's crazy. It could be anything. And you might then go, yes, it's because my dad treated me like this. Yes, it's because my mum was a narcissist. Yes, it could be any of these things. But does that actually change the behaviour? It helps you have an understanding and more, it allows you to see it clearer. Again, it's more of an observation. You just go, that is interesting. That is why I'm like this. Then what? You know, you could then go to therapy and go and see a counsellor who will let you talk about it even more, and then you bring up even more. And I'm not saying don't go to see a counsellor. It depends on who the counsellor is or therapist. I'm sure there's wonderful ones. But really, for me, every time I've seen something and I go to someone, please, like now I've observed this thing about myself, this pattern, this behaviour, this thought pattern that just keeps going on, and I keep repeating the same old thing. And it could be anything. It could be anything. Relationships, work situations, just family interactions. It could be anything. Anger coming up when you don't want it to. Where's that coming from? Yeah, it's all coming from a place, and it's in you, and you can try and find the answer for it. But ultimately, this is sort of encouraging, even though I'm making it sound long-winded and everything. But when you get to the point of you've noticed it, that is it. That is it. You're already winning if you've noticed a pattern that you keep performing. It's a good word. Performing this pattern. Because that's what we are. Because it's the character that is stuck in this perpetual patterning that it created. And then we perform it over and over again because that's what we do. So when you notice it and you go, how do I stop? You just keep noticing it and love it and understand it and just allow it. And you go, well, I'm trying to stop it. You're not. You can't. You can stop it, and that requires will. So, like, here's an example. Someone triggered me the other day, and it was a family member, because they're the best. They're the best at triggering. They're really good at triggering. And the best I could do on that day was, what, right, Kate, I have noticed I'm triggered, and I will not, I'm just going to hold it. All I can do is hold it, because I am now Hulk-like squeezing the desk. And I did well enough, just that I didn't react. But internally, I reacted. And as far as I'm concerned, that's exactly the same. All I didn't was let it finish off and turn into a big thing, which was good. But really, energetically, it was there. And I restricted it somewhat, which, let's say, that's a win when it's in a family situation. You don't want to be the one that's just blown up the whole situation again. Because I used to do that. So that was but it still annoyed me that I was annoyed and that I got caught. But really, don't be annoyed that you got caught, because it just showed to still a belief that this person was right about this thing. And so it's nothing to do with them. It's all on me, 100% on me. And really, people go, whoa, damn, I need to do better. No, that was the best I could do at that time, and it was perfect because I just observed it, and it still stung and it still triggered, and that is all you need to do. There is nothing else you need to do, because really, when you sit with that and you think about it, or you feel into what that really is, that is again another belief. So best advice I can give is observe without judgment. So you know, throughout the day, depending on how busy you are, if you're working, whatever, but if you're retired or you don't work for yourself, you work for yourself, whatever, you've got time, just give yourself a couple of minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I was listening to Rudolf Steiner, and he was talking about 5 minutes of time a day to sit. And Rudolf Steiner, he makes me laugh, is like, 1900 language in early 1900s, and it's like, just give yourself 5 minutes of this patient time and blah, 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 and be one with yourself. And he was using it, and eventually got to the point, and in certain parts of the world, they call it meditation. And I don't think you have to meditate, but to give yourself time and space is an actual thing. It lives inside you. You need to cultivate it and allow it to be there. So when these things come up, you have some room and space to do it. But really, if you're asking how you solve a pattern, a repeat pattern, or a thing that's going around, just allow it, observe it, And then it eventually, because the more you push back against it, universal law, it will push back against you. The more you fight it, it will fight back against you. The more you resist it, it will resist you. So when you just gently observe it and notice and allow it, that's the best I can do to describe it. Some things, yes, the dinner got triggered, held the table, didn't say anything. That's great. As long as I notice it, as long as you notice it, that is it. And I know that's going to annoy people because you go, I need to know how to fix it. There is none. That is it. You've won. Congratulations, you've won. If you've noticed a pattern, you've noticed a way of behaviour that you no longer really want to do, that is it. It's just then a slow, or it could be quick, depending on how much you keep noticing it. So you've got to be present to notice it. But if you've noticed it, that means you were present. So you've done it. And you just keep noticing it. And eventually it will go. Not maybe in this light, but it will diminish and diminish, and you will notice the diminishing of that pattern as it comes. So 2 things there. Who are you trying to be perfect for? Good question to ask yourself, because God doesn't need you to be perfect for him or her or it, whatever you want to call it. It's insane to think you need to be perfect for them. So what are you feeling? Who are you trying to be perfect for? Good question to ask yourself. And once you've noticed something, that is it. You've already done it. So I'm going to leave you on that, and thank you to all the new people. And I'm sorry if I ramble on. I just really put this one out. It's not one of my better ones, I don't know. But I thought I'd just put something out because I've got new people joining, and it's good to just say hello and welcome. And here's a little thing that I thought of today, and I'm going to try and do more of them. When something like that comes up, who are you trying to be perfect for? Good question to ask. So have a wonderful day, and nice to meet the new people, and thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you soon. Take care.